Hello Dragoborne fans, and welcome back to another deck spotlight. This week we're going to be discussing the red, green, blue mid-range deck that focuses, of course, on heavy dragons and did very well in Japan, ended up winning their qualifier. So this continues on with the green-based mid-range decks that, if you're not generally a big fan of those mono-red or red-red-green aggro decks, this is another direction that you can go. You really want to win in the mid to late game, and this deck has all the right tools to help you get there. So let's first talk about the staple of any green mid-range or even control type of deck. We have 4 Fleetwing Sprite and 4 Redfang in this list. Now they went with Redfang because we don't have yellow for Growing Touch and because it is a more aggressive ramp effect compared to Growing Touch, which can let you set up some plays with Remus, which is also not here. So all the decks that are based on green as their support color, if they want to go the more mid-range or control decks, have 4 of Fleetwing Sprite and 4 of either Redfang or Growing Touch. These are absolutely your staple cards if you want to achieve this strategy. Moving on to some of our utility creatures that are going to help remove our opponent's forwards, we have 4 Carefree Orc, 4 Doomfire Avatar, and then 2 Fuma. Now, Carefree Orc and Doomfire Avatar, based on what your opponent is playing, can be very cheap and effective removal spells. Again, this game is very much heavily focused on having creatures on the battlefield that can attack, break your opponent's shields and ultimately barriers, and win that way. So having cards like Doomfire Avatar that you can play, either break a shield or kill one of your opponent's creatures, is nothing but value. And Carefree Orc is interesting here because, as we just mentioned, every green-based deck is playing something like Fleetwing Sprite where it only has 1 endurance, so being able to attack with Carefree Orc, you get to kill their blocker for free, and he deals 2 damage. Now, 2 damage might not be all that impressive by himself, but having the ability to remove some of your opponent's cheap blockers is absolutely wonderful. And then we have 2 Fuma. This card is great for being able to remove some of our opponent's creatures if they're giving us a problem, like a crossed Izarco can be very threatening if we're trying to push through game and we have a bunch of big creatures. There's a Tariel we might need to remove just so we can break the last fort, or if there's even something like a Darian that can blank himself or destroy himself to prevent the attack. These are all cards that you want to have outs to. So having 2 to 3 Fuma in the deck has been very successful for a few blue-based lists. And then let's talk about the spells. So we have 2 Chromatic Disturbance. Anyone that looked at my yellow, green, red dragons list, I absolutely love this card. You're guaranteeing a way that if you want to resource, say, an Izarco early on, you do have at least a way to get it back. Now, what I love about this card is it also has the green dice cross effect, 1 through 3 reference effect, that you can choose one of your other resources, play it, and then because, again, you'd put something that's non-green, you also get to draw a card. What's great is we have Doomfire Avatar, which again, if we roll, say, a 4, 5, or 6, we can use a Siphon from Doomfire, roll our green dice down, and then use Chromatic Disturbance to get whatever other card we absolutely need at that turn. There is a lot of little things that you can pull off in this color combination that allows you to get a little bit more value out of the cards otherwise. Then there's 4 Rejuvenate. Now this card is one of the reasons that you put blue in a deck. It can help you ramp, it can draw you a bunch of cards, and it only costs 2, so it's a very cheap spell for what it wants to do, and in the mid to late game, it can absolutely help bring you back. Then 4 Torch, a great card that if you set up your red dice correctly, having this as a Fort Blast can be great, but also just being able to have a 3-cost spell that can potentially deal 6 to something can help you out in a lot of situations as well. No surprise here at all. If we're playing red, we're playing some combination of these 2 dragons. So we have a 3-3 split yet again between Fafneer and Zarko. Fafneer really great at being able to kill most 5 drops or 5 endurance, and going up to 8 attack when he's crossed. So he's going to just absolutely destroy anything that tries to block him, and destroying his shield on enter is extremely relevant. Then we have Izarco. Not much needs to be said about this. Card is absolutely amazing. Roll up one of your dice to 6, get to deal 6 damage, red cross him, he becomes a 7/7, and when he dies you get to deal 7 damage. So it's pretty much like winning the slots for all the 7s that are on this card, but Izarco is absolutely the card that the mid-range and control types of decks needed to be able to come back against some more aggressive strategies. And then why are we playing blue? Why do we care, or why is it Hail Hydra? Because Aquatic Battle Unit Hydra is absolutely one of my favorite blue cards from the first set, and is ultimately one of the reasons to run blue. This card can really do it all for you in the sense that it's a 5/5, which is fine stats in itself. When he's not blocked by a Drago shield, you get to stand him, so he's a very early double breaker, and he has the ability to roll up all your dice. So it's a great defensive card as well. You're going to be down a lane early on, you're going to have a free dice, you can put it on him, protect your other 2 lanes, and he becomes a 6/6. So it can get around, say, Fafneer, not a Zarko unfortunately, but crossing him early on is absolutely what you want to do. And then we have EMP, which is probably the strongest ambush in the first set, at least for the effect. There's certainly some other good ones out there as well, like Kingslayer Bee we'll talk about in a moment. But the ability to pay 2, if they try to attack, you can rest all creatures at a fort, which is going to help you swing for game. There's been many times where we have this in a couple of videos that your opponent just can't play around it. Maybe they're not drawing the Eleanor. You get the EMP and it wins you the game on the spot. Speaking of ambushes, we again see the green package coming through for why do we have ambushes, why are they good, and what are the cards that counter it. So we have Kingslayer Bee. I cannot stress enough how much I love this card. Yes, and don't forget, you can also play it just as a 3-drop, 3/2 attacker when you just really need that one extra attacker to close out a game. But you put it in your ambush for 2, you flip it, you get to rest a guy, and likely trade with another one in aggro, so it helps buy you time. Now what's really important here is you also understand what the anti-ambush cards are. So we have 2 Mischievous Sprites and 2 Eleanor. A lot of people are ultimately split on which one that they like more. I am still a bigger fan of Eleanor for her effect, but Mischievous Sprite absolutely has its place as well. So if you're going to be making any kind of deck, unless you have some other outs where you just don't care about ambushes, every single deck should be running some combination, or at least the anti-ambush cards of these 3, because of how important ambushes are in the game and how strong some of the effects can be. As we've seen in this video, we have EMP, and we've seen in the last video, there is also Pyroclasm, which can be an absolute beating if your opponent is on mono red. So that's all we have for this very quick deck spotlight. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and of course, let us know what other either deck types you want to see, dual series you want to see. If there's 2 different decks you want to see going up against one another, we are more than happy to record them for you. We absolutely love this game and want to see more people get into it. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, make sure to drop us a like. It helps get the word out there and helps spread Dragoborne around. Make sure to subscribe for future Dragoborne TCG content. Of course, click on the playlist link to subscribe to it so you can get a notification anytime a new Dragoborne video goes up. And of course, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next 6 Sages Gaming Deck Spotlight. Have a good one. This video made possible thanks to the Patreon support of viewers such as yourself. Thank you to our honorary sages.